There we go. Starting it. I'm starting it.
How'd you do that?
With a little... Oh, you flipped the switch up.
Wow.
I'm a camera expert, quite frankly. Oh, I'll put my water down.
Oh no, I can't show that. That's turtles.
You're really horny for the single-use plastic.
I carried this from Europe.
Okay, fine.
Because my Lululemon nipple broke. I look like your Guido brother.
I do like that little comparison you did with the rock, and then you had the little chains on.
Thank you.
That was very accurate. Because when I saw that photo, I was like, she reminds me of something, and yeah, it's not necessarily feminine. And then I clicked the next thing, and I was like, oh.
It's not necessarily feminine.
Well, because I was trying to think, like, who does she remind me of? And in the back of my mind, I was like, I feel like a guy. Not because you look like a guy, but just because I was like, there's something about this.
I don't know, man. People ask us if we're sisters sometimes. I'm like, no, I'm her brother.
That's not true. It's true that people ask if we're sisters, but they don't. Yeah. Anyways.
Anywho.
Let's talk about body confidence. I'm a boy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. But welcome to Sam's Mikasa, this beautiful, beautiful world. This is the first video that we are filming together.
I know. It's been a minute.
Which is really weird.
I know.
It feels so weird.
It's because we're so genuine that we don't need a video of our friendship.
I do feel like the internet ruins people.
Yeah, and friendships.
So we have just kept our friendship pure and outside of the internet.
Private.
Yeah.
We're private lovers.
So. If you guys don't know who Sam is, you're living under a rock. This is Samantha Ravindal, and she is wonderful and probably one of my top 3 favorite humans in the world. She's hilarious.
Oh my god, you're making
so
me
wise, so wise, and so talented. So if you don't know her, check out her channel here and listed down there. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe and all that.
Comment, like, subscribe. Check me out.
So today she is being so kind and doing the second installment of the Life with Land series. I really don't like that name anymore. I've just decided.
Why?
I don't know.
I think it's nice.
Life with Sam.
Yeah, change it to that.
Yep. Today's Life with Sam.
Yes.
So we are doing a talk. We're going to sit here and chat to you guys about body image and confidence. I went onto Instagram and asked you to give me questions, and we have screenshotted quite a number of them. So we're just going to answer some, chat, talk generally about how we feel about our bodies. A lot of people were asking about how to not compare yourself on social media in the social media world, which is a topic I feel both of us feel very strongly about.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sam, how do you feel about the whole social media world and comparing yourself to people on social media?
So someone responded to a tweet of mine the other day because I was asking, I had tweeted saying, like, what do you wish you could change about yourself, the world, or your community, but don't know where to start? And someone was saying basically that they were like, oh, like, talking about social media and all these issues and stuff like that. And they were like, I'm so glad I didn't grow up with it as a teenager. And I was like, me too.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it would have been like being that young and having to deal with constantly being bombarded of like images of people that are so perfect, because even if you don't follow these people, it doesn't matter. You still end up seeing it somehow.
Yeah.
And it's like, think about like how you and I grew up, our consumption of media and having to see people that we compared ourselves to. It was so minimal.
It was mainly your friend group.
Your friend group, and also
really
like, okay,
that.
maybe you watched like one 30-minute MTV show, but other than that, like, yeah, there's magazines, but like not many of us, I feel, sat and like read magazines for hours on end. So yeah, I was comparing myself to my friend group, which were people that were natural, and not to say that we have anything against filler, Botox, plastic surgery,
We're strong
whatever.
supporters of that.
Yeah, I think it's great, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, but I do think it's hard when you're comparing yourself to somebody who's been enhanced through some means to feel like you're not enough, or like you're less human than them, or less beautiful than them, when it's like, you know, it is something additional. So I think that we were comparing ourselves mostly to natural women that was in our direct friend group. So I do think the nature of it has, this is a really long-winded answer. I do think that social media is really, really hard to cope with. I think that it's unnatural to have that much exposure. So, you know, like when people are asking that question, like, how do you stop? Where do you even begin when you're competing with something that's so prevalent and so unnatural, and it happened so quickly, where we went from consuming virtually like very little of that to constant consumption of those images.
It's like
of course it gets to you.
I think a lot of people on the internet assume that anyone who's on social media, like I know when I did that first round of the questions thing when they launched it, and people were like, oh, you seem so confident. And it's like, it's so funny that everyone kind of portrays themselves as feeling confident. And it's like, well, we sit there and, you know, take 50,000 different photos, edit them so intensely, and then put them up. And it's still like, I don't know. It's such a struggle. And especially like going to these events, I try not to compare myself to other people, but you can't, I can't not. I go to these things, and it's actually, especially on this Ibiza trip that I just did, it's like everyone's in a bathing suit.
Bathing suit trips are hard.
It's so freaking hard. And not that I don't.
Sorry, I just burped. I just burped kimchi.
The smell in here will be divine. If anyone wants to know what it smells like, it's rotten vinegar.
Fermented cabbage, okay? Oh, Matt's here to chime in.
Matt, how do you feel about social media and body image?
Well, there's two sides of the coin. 3 arguments.
3 sides. That's a good coin.
There's 3 sides to the coin.
That's a coin I want in my pocket, I know that much.
Is it body shaming? What was the question?
Yes, how do you body shame?
I just look in the mirror.
Oh!
It smells like onions in here.
Excuse you!
What did you eat?
I ate kimchi!
And then burped it into the
And then burped it into Lena's face.
Hashtag kimchi.
Oh my god. How rude. Well, that's Matt's addition to this conversation. Okay. Oh yeah. This is what I was gonna say. I think it's interesting because I feel like a lot of people inherently think that we're confident, but I also think that a lot of people assume that because we know the inner workings of the industry, we wouldn't get as self-conscious as we do, because like, you know, it's fake too.
Yeah.
But I still do. Even if I know that people's photos are edited, even if I know that their videos are made to make their life seem better than it is, made to make them look as good as they possibly can, all that different kinds of shit, I still look at it and I'm like, I wish I was part of their family. Not part of their family, but maybe part of their marriage. I don't know. Maybe one of their sons and daughters.
Adopt me.
Yeah.
I almost find it harder the more you know.
You think?
I think that when I see like a normal person, if you will, like who's separated from the social media world, I see them post a photo and I'm like, oh, that's so nice. It's like, it almost makes me struggle more knowing how much work and effort someone's putting into their content or their photos, because then I sit there and I'm like, well, why am I not doing this for my content? Why am I not making myself appear this way like they are? Like, the more effort that they're putting into their stuff, kind of the more worse I feel about what I'm putting out there, because I'm like, well, frig, I didn't perfect my skin to look like a porcelain angel.
That's an interesting perspective. I think it's interesting. One thing I was going to say as well is that it's interesting to me trying to start to disassemble like insecurities that have grown because of this industry,
which is a lot, by the way.
things that have always bothered me. Like, I've always, since 8th grade, not liked my nose. One kid told me I looked like Eminem, and I was like, I hate my life.
Oh my God.
Most teenage girls don't want to be compared to Eminem, especially looks-wise. And I have always hated my nose since then. Like, I've wanted a nose job for as long as whatever. But things like lip injections and stuff, I hated. I thought my lips were too big as is in high school, and so I would avoid wearing any kind of color on my lips because I thought it made my lips look so much bigger.
Not even from social media pressure, but the more I stared at my face, like we sit and edit photos and videos of ourselves all day. It's like you just come to notice those things. I'd look at my lips move and I'd be like, God, my lips are so thin. And that was something I never thought about before. And it wasn't necessarily something that I was pressured into because all of these balloon, like I don't want those balloon lips. But I did just want my lips to be a little bit more full and plump, and that was something I gathered just from watching myself. Like, I always knew that I was a hairy mother frigger, but until people started saying that my, hairs were glistening in the sunshine, it wasn't something I ever thought I had to, like, take action on.
Yeah, and deal with.
People are just ruthless, and that just, I find my confidence being, like, knocked down more and more. But at the same time, my confidence is getting better because I'm learning how to deal with the insecurities more often than I would have had to otherwise.
I agree with that. I feel like my confidence gets worse and worse, but I feel like my self-awareness and my understanding gets better.
Yeah.
And so I feel like in that, like, I'm starting to feel more confident in who I am as a person, not necessarily how I look, because I feel like I'll always be insecure about how I look, but I start to feel more and more confident about like, okay, like I try to reflect on myself a lot. I try to be a better person. I try to treat people better. I try to be empathetic and like all these different kinds of things. And in that, it's like I'm more confident in that way. I don't know, it's hard. And same thing with you. Like I feel like when I started editing videos of myself, the one thing I got really insecure about was how I talk. Because I was like, oh, I say like, I can't.
So much. The amount of things I edit out.
Yeah. And same thing when I do like interviews and stuff. I remember I did this one interview and this chick put in every time I said
Oh my god.
and I was like, you're a bitch. I fucking hate you. Because I was just like, why would you leave? Like, I feel like she was purposely trying to paint a picture of making me seem unintelligent by leaving those things in, rather than obviously redacting things that I'm just, because I'm talking to you quickly and I'm having a conversation, like I'm gonna say and like and whatever. But
it's been bad and it's been helpful all at the same time, because when you're editing yourself, it's like I can edit how I speak. It's like, oh, I noticed that I have this really horrible habit of licking my lip every time I speak, and that's something you pick up on. But then you kind of become crazy and you become so nitpicky. And
I think that, and the one thing too is I think that in a way it's so positive, because it's like the first time in media where women especially can portray themselves the way that they wish to be portrayed rather than how somebody else wants them to be portrayed. And I think that that's really powerful, but it's just hard because it's like there's this fine balance between that, which is a positive thing, portraying yourself how you want to be portrayed, versus feeling like you're trying to compete with how other people are portraying themselves, because it is all a portrayal. Like how we sit, even if you guys find us genuine or whatever and super funny and super talented, it's still like our portrayal of ourselves to you. And then you are filling in the blanks of who we are, because we're giving you A and C and you're making up B in your mind. Like you are just assuming things about us. And then now we're living up to our expectations, your expectations that you made up that we might not even understand. So it leads to all kinds of different issues, because the one thing I feel really self-conscious about is when people tell me I have like a nice body or a body that they would want, I'm like, well, you haven't seen my body naturally. Like you don't see me when I'm doing housework around my house, and like I have like,
you don't see me naked.
You don't see me when I'm just being. You see me when I'm doing something for you, where I'm conscious of how I'm looking.
And how many takes that is. Like if I post a bathing suit pic, you know that there's going to be like 80 options that I went through, and I'm choosing the one where I look and it feels almost like fraudulent, without even like, let's say take editing out of the equation, because I think that, I don't know, like I it's kind of a catch-22 with editing, because I feel like we're not going to answer any questions. It's kind of a catch-22 with editing, because in one way I should be able to portray myself how I want to be portrayed, even if that's unrealistic maybe, but it's just me and my photo. But on the other hand, I think that it's difficult because it starts to feel fraudulent when you guys are comparing yourself to editing. But it also feels fraudulent when you take editing out of the equation and you guys assume something about our bodies based off, like even if it wasn't edited, but we were posing such a way or in really good lighting, or you know what, like we're not going to post photos where we're just kind of slouching, and it feels fraudulent, because when you guys are saying like your body's so great, I in my mind I'm not like thank you, I'm like no it's not. Like it's a lie.
you don't see it. And so I don't know.
Well, and I think that's something, just going back to the whole like comparing to social media in general, I think another thing that I'm really learning and realizing is a lot of these people are either very naturally perfectly gorgeous,
like perfect skin naturally, but also they're getting hella facials and shit, yoli glows coming out of fucking nowhere with their little gold.
But also that these people are getting so much work done. Like there are multiple people who would just, I don't think they've ever touched a gym, but they just live by this fat replacement surgery, and it's like such a thing.
It's not anything against that, it's just that it's really hard when you're comparing your natural body and how your natural body stores fat to,
it's like no matter how much I worked out, I can't compare myself to someone who's had all their fat sucked out with lipo. Like it's just not realistic.
And put in strategically, put back in, because I wouldn't suddenly gain it in my butt.
Okay, so for example, there's in Ibiza, there was this chick, she was a Spanish blogger, and I'm obsessed with her, she's so beautiful, but she was the smallest person I've ever seen in my life with my own eyes. Like her ribs were like this big, and she was just this tiny human. And you know, when I go through and look at her Instagram after, I'm like, you would never know how small she actually is naturally. Like I'd literally have to remove all of my ribs to become such a size. And I think that was a really important thing that I realized, that no matter how much I diet, no matter how much I work out, like I'm never going to change my bone structure. Like this is the size that I'm going to be. And the second I kind of accepted that was where I became more confident in my own body, because where I become unconfident and where I struggle is when I'm being lazy personally. Like for me, it's like, why aren't I going to the gym? Like, why am I flabby? I don't have to be. I can be hard. I can be a solid person. I can be healthy. I can have this amazing workout regime. I'll never change my size. Like unless I want to go and shave down all my bones, like that's just not going to happen. And the moment I accepted that was where I kind of became more comfortable in myself.
Well, and I think too, like it's hard because like even if you're eating properly, even if you're working out, even if you're doing all of these things and whatever, and you're trying really hard, your body naturally stores fat where it stores fat. It naturally gains muscle quicker in other areas, and that's just your personal body. Like me, like I feel like I can tone up like my legs, my arms really fast, but like my belly will never ever be toned. It just won't. Like it's just not.
And it's funny because we're opposite.
And I hate
that.
it.
like mine, all my fat stores in my arms, in my legs. Like if I feel like I'm gaining weight, my arms get puffy in it. Like it's so weird, but my stomach won't often be too affected. Yeah,
and so I feel like it's hard too because you're comparing yourself to somebody that just simply they don't have the same genetics as you.
Yeah.
And their body deals with everything differently, and so it's really like it's hard not to, and I find that I'm still like always trying to work through that, of course, but it's just like these little things that like it's literally just science. Like you have to remind yourself that you're comparing yourself to something that is already unattainable but might be especially unattainable to you because that's not how your body works.
Yeah. I think just the most important like general thing is to just be healthy. Yeah. Regardless of what the size is. Like, if I tell people I'm a size 27 in my pants and all these other bitches are like 23, I'm like, well, that's fine as long as I'm like healthy and I don't feel like all I want to do is be able to like run up the stairs and not, collapse.
I also find that like for me, it was important to change my healthy habits to have more than one, meaning behind them, because I think if you're just going to the gym to get skinny, or you're just eating properly or eating differently to get skinny, you'll always feel like shit.
You're going to obsess about it and nothing's ever going to be enough, and that's going to lead to problems.
You're going to obsess about it and you're going to feel like, exactly, nothing's ever enough, because you're going to get to your goal weight and then it's going to be like, I need to be this much skinnier, I need to be this much, I need to be this much, now I need to tone this, and it's all positive obviously, but I think that if you have more than one meaning, like for me with eating, it's like I really am trying to transition towards plant-based because I'm like, I feel like this is the best, not only for me, and I do think it will help like with like whatever weight issues I might have problems with now and in the future, but also because I think that it's sustainable, and because I think it's good for the environment, and because I think it's good for animals, and all those other feelings kind of help distract from just getting so fixated on trying to be something that I feel like I'm not.
Yeah.
And same thing with, like not eating junk food and shit like that. I try to focus on how it makes me feel rather than, all
just
these
denying
calories,
yourself
all
that.
this whatever. Yeah, like I try to say, okay, like I feel like shit when I eat hot Cheetos, as much as I love them with my whole heart. I feel like shit. So I don't want to feel crappy all the time. I'd rather like substitute for like a healthier snack.
Yeah.
And focus more on the feeling and focus more on other things that you're doing it for, rather than just having the motive of I want to be skinny or whatever.
Yeah. And I think with that, this is kind of random and offside, but in terms of the whole dieting thing, I know a common question, because we typically with our job travel a lot and it takes us out of our normal routine. And one of the most common questions that I kind of get annoyed about, but they just happen very frequently, are like, oh my God, how do you eat that all the time? Like I'll constantly be posting like pizzas and burgers and whatever on my Instagram stories, and it's something that you and I have the same thought process about food. It's like in our home we're eating this way, we're eating very healthily, but when you travel you kind of make exceptions. And I would hate to the reason why I've never classified with any diet is because I'd hate to deny myself anything. Like if I want to sit there and eat a bag of hot Cheetos and I really want some hot Cheetos and I'm having that craving, I'm gonna do it. And I don't want to ever feel bad about it. Like some people really beat themselves up about, straying from their diets. And it's like, how are you eating this? Oh my God, I wish I could eat pizza. And it's like, well, you can can, just as long as you're living a relatively healthy lifestyle on top of that. Like, unless you're doing some drastic weight loss goal, like if you want to eat a piece of pizza, eat a piece of pizza, eat a bag of hot Cheetos, but just make sure that you're not doing that all the time. Like, one of the best discoveries for me was virtuous pie.
Oh, fuck.
Because
so good.
pizza
It's like
is
this vegan
my
pizza.
vice. I love it so much, but I'm allergic to dairy, and I would be struggling, like dying and farting and exploding in my stomach for like hours after. And so, finding virtuous pie, finding these alternative options that you can eat, you're satisfying your cravings, but you're also not destroying.
And I think that was something for me that was a big thing with trying to, because I tend to like really overload myself. Like when I was first starting to want to go plant-based, I was like, okay, I want to be plant-based, but I also don't want to be creating any waste, so I don't want to use anything in single-use plastic, and I want it to be organic, and I want it to be sustainable, and I want it to be this, and I want it to be that, and I want it to be like not processed, and this, and it's like suddenly like I have all of these like massive restrictions on myself where I'm like, okay, so I can eat plain broccoli. Like, it's like I it's like
here's a carrot that I grew.
And I think the thing for me is like I've always really not wanted to change my like kind of connection with food and my healthiness in terms of my like just my connection to food, basically, because food does make me happy, and it's something that I enjoy, and like when I'm traveling, like I like to eat foods of that culture and eat probably ways that I wouldn't normally at home, and it's like an important thing for me. So I never wanted to destroy that relationship that I had with food, because it was important to me to continue to like gain happiness from that and try to be making healthier choices, but also not beating myself up to the point where like I no longer enjoy
travel and food.
Yeah.
And that was something that was huge. Like, when traveling, I sit there and I'm constantly battling with this, because I see other people, talking about comparing to social media. Like, I see all these other people who are traveling and they have all these amazing outfits constantly. They never wear the same thing twice. They're like, they just look so good. They're all working out, blah, blah. And when I'm going to a hot country, I'm sitting there sweating my balls off. I can't fathom, having the energy to do a workout in such intense heat. And then I go to a restaurant, and if I see a green leaf salad or a bowl of Italian pasta, I'm gonna friggin' choose the pasta. And I constantly feel guilty about that when I'm traveling, because I know that I could be eating healthier alternatives, but I also know that, I am on this trip for a certain period of time, and that when I go home, I'm gonna be back into my, healthy routine. And so I try not to worry about it too much, but I do, like, I gained like 20 pounds on this month and a half in Europe, and I'm friggin' flabby, and I went back to the gym this week and absolutely died. But, I didn't restrict myself in that time. I thoroughly enjoyed my trip and lived deliciously through meals. And, where I might feel a little bit more chunky, it's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna get back on this road. And
I think it's interesting too, something I've been noticing recently is that I feel my like interaction with how I eat and what I eat, I feel like is really changed based on who I'm around. Like, I feel like when I'm with people that are eating super, super healthy, or like they have like one piece of bread and like whatever, I'm like
I got this iceberg lettuce.
Yeah, like it's like I kind of start to feel like a little bit embarrassed, or like maybe my portion sizes should be smaller, or like whatever, versus like sometimes I'm hanging out with certain people that are really like, people that are like, I could eat a whole pizza to myself. Like, it's just like there's people that kind of like brag about how much they can eat or whatever sort of thing. Then I feel like almost like I need to like keep up. It's just something weird that I've been noticing recently, where I'm like, I feel, I don't know, I'm really trying to distance myself in all kinds of ways from like doing things for a reaction or doing things because someone else is doing them or whatever, because I started to notice that I felt like I was doing that a lot, just in all areas. I'm trying to hold in my kimchi burps, but it's hard. It's like brewing a storm there.
How do you keep from worrying what your partner thinks about your body? And there were a lot of questions about like how you not feeling confident affects your partner, or like if you're having weight gain, how that affects your sexual relationships with your partner. And I feel like that's something that has really affected me a lot. And I think maybe for you too. It's just like, if you're, at the end of the day, like if you're not feeling confident, if you're not feeling sexy, if you're not feeling good, that is going to resonate in your sexual relationships. Like if I'm feeling disgusting, I'm like, frig, don't look at me. Like, excuse me while I hide myself in this cave. But at the same time, it's almost, like if you're with a good partner, if your other person is a good, loving person, they'll kind of love you no matter what. But I also respect when people are like, hey, you know, help me like stay on a healthy track. Like I also like to be kept in check.
Oh, I would murder them.
No, but it's mostly like Dan and I talk about it a lot. Just like, you know, supporting each other to a healthier lifestyle. Like if I'm sitting there and I'm like, babe, I really want chips. He's like, babe, do you really want chips? Like, you just did a workout.
I'd be like, yes, I really want fucking chips.
And I might do that. It'll be like, no, I need these chips. And he'll be like, okay, I'll get you the chips. Or I'm like, frig, you're right, I'll eat some carrots. Like, damn it. You know, so I think that as long as you're being supported and loved, and if they're not making you feel like you should never be made feel
yet less. I think I notice a lot how my insecurities affect my relationship, because sexually, yes, but I also think that I get so insecure to the point where I'm like, what are you doing? What are you looking at your phone? What are you like? And it's like, it makes it so that I can't cope with things that I normally can, because I'm so insecure that I'm like feeling less than, feeling like, oh, like what if my partner's not satisfied with me? What if he doesn't think I'm attractive anymore? What if this, what if that? And so I feel like it affects my relationship more so in that I have a harder time reining in my emotions.
Yeah.
And that's something that like I've worked on a lot, because I know that in my very first relationship when I was 16, I was like unbearably insecure to the point where like I let nothing slide, because I needed to have complete control over my partner to feel like I had any amount of control over how I felt about myself and how other people felt about me. And that was the only way I sought to do that, basically. So rather than trying to be more confident and trying to work on myself and be happier with myself, I was like, I'm gonna try and control this outside thing as much as I can, because I feel like I can't control how I feel about myself.
Yeah.
And so that's how I feel like it affects my relationship the most. Were they asking how to solve this, or just for my feelings? Just my feelings.
How do you stop worrying about what your partner thinks about your body? And then let me just find
I think
it's dating when you hate your body, like just being confident.
I think again it's really about restructuring how you think. Like it's not focusing so fucking hard on trying to get to your goal body, but focusing on, I went to the gym today, or you know, I chose to drink water instead of pop at lunch.
Yeah.
Or you know, like I think it's like focusing on these small things that you're doing to be healthier, rather than being so fixated on what you aren't. And it's obviously, it's just hard. Like all of these things are hard, and they're going to be lifelong battles. I think that's the thing, is that everyone believes that someone else that they look up to must be like so confident and so whatever, and never have these issues. But everyone deals with it, because no matter who you are, there's someone that you perceive as being more beautiful than you, more fit than you, more this, more that. And like, you know, we all find different things beautiful, and yes, there's like a perceived notion of what idealistic beauty is in our society. There's also our own ideas of beauty, and I just think everyone deals with it. There's nothing you can do aside from try to be happier, be healthier, and that's really what you need to focus on, more than trying to get to this goal size or weight or whatever.
And you know, in terms of like feeling confident when you're dating and in a sexual presence, I think you know, instead of again like focusing on that goal, like I'm focusing on this ideal, it's like doing small things that make you feel better. And this is probably, I know that someone will probably like, you know, would refute. In terms of sex, like for the longest time I hated being naked. I hated the idea of like someone seeing me in some weird position where like a roll was sticking out, you know, like that was my worst nightmare. And so I'd have sex with the lights turned off, and that was like a huge confidence booster for me. Like I didn't want to be seen in the light, and so that's what I would do, and I'd feel a lot more confident and frisky, you know. In
morning sex off the table.
Yeah, no, thank you. Blackout curtains only. Thanks. But that was something that I did to really help. But at the same time, like when it comes to dating, I know it's like, oh, what if he's not gonna like me? Like, oh crap, I kind of look like crap in this sweater. Like I need to wear something that makes me look better. Blah blah blah. And it's like at the end of the day, someone was going to love you with whatever you have. And if you're constantly worrying about them not loving this part of you, like, oh, I need to change this, I need to lose 20 pounds before I go on this date with this guy or something. It's like, that's not how you should be thinking. It's like, this is me, this is how I am. I might be working towards a particular goal. I might be trying to lose some weight, fine, but at the end of the day, like, someone should love me for me and all of my extra juiciness. And that's...
And I think that in saying that as well, it's important to picture your long term. Like, picture everything that your body goes through and all these external factors that add to stressors on your body, and you living your entire life. Okay, so let's say you find this partner, and if they don't like you for who you are, then they're a piece of shit anyways.
Yeah.
But you find this partner, and like you know, okay, most of us watching probably are like in our 20s and whatever sort of thing, and we're dating and whatever, and we're trying to find someone that we're going to be with long term. You're going to be with this person through all these ebbs and flows of life and your body, because as you get older, you're naturally going to gain more weight. If you get pregnant, you're naturally going to gain more weight. When you have the kid, you're going to have loose skin, you're going to have all these things. So it's like, if you're so fixated on what that person thinks of you now, before you've even started dating, just imagine all these ebbs and flows that you have to go through in life. And that's not to stress you out, it's just to say that, like, your body is a functioning machine, you know, and it's meant to do more than just look good, because it's meant to keep you healthy, it's meant to bear children, it's meant to do so many things beyond just be looked at. And so you need to be comfortable with the idea that, like, you're not always going to be this perfect image. So even if you, like, kill yourself trying to go to the gym and dieting and doing all these things to be so perfect for this person now, your body is going to change and ebb and flow anyways. And you would hope that you're with a partner that's understanding enough of the reality of that to be like, that's fine. Yeah. Like, it's natural. And
like, you have to be in love with the person, not how they look, because it's like, yeah, give me 20 years and I'm going to start sagging like an old bean. Like, it's not a forever thing. And you know, you have to find a partner in life and not someone who just appreciates the way you look. Yeah. Because, I mean, they're going to be very sad when you turn, I don't know, 70. Well, no, or not. Or you could just be...
I don't know. I'm planning on being a pretty good looking.
Dolly Parton, Cher, looks incredible. What are some of your own insecurities, and how are you working towards accepting them?
Oh, okay, you go first.
I'm incredibly insecure about my hair, and there's freaking nothing I can do.
Hair?
Yes.
Why? Your hair's nice.
No, my hairiness, my body hair.
I was like, I don't know, I think it's like oh, okay.
There's so many insecurities that I try to deal with and that I know that I can fix. I'm trying to think of, like, insecurities that are, like, something I could actually talk about. Like, I can sit here and list about, like, I hate this and this and this and this. But how would you approach this question?
I have a lot of, like, mental insecurities.
But no, it's a very broad statement.
So, but I feel like because we're talking about body, I'll leave that like damage for the past, and then we'll, like, carry on in, like, another topic maybe about that later. Okay. So my insecurities, body-wise, I'm very insecure about my nose. I'm very insecure about my general jawline, chin, here, this whole area. Basically here to here, this whole area, I'm really not loving it. Something I started noticing when I took more photos of myself is that I have kind of this weird, like, puffiness here. And, like, it kind of creates a shadow when I take a photo. You'd never see it. But, like, it kind of creates a shadow when I take a photo, and I always edit it out because I'm like, why do I look that way? My tummy is a big one because I feel like I'll always have a gut and I cannot get rid of it. I haven't tried that hard. but I do feel like my body, like, naturally kind of, like, even if, like, when I gain more weight, like, at my heaviest, my legs were still, like, and it was just like a gut.
What a dream.
But I hate having, like, a big belly, because it's like when you have big thighs, people are like, you're thick. When you have a big belly, people are like, you're chubby.
Like, you have big thighs, you can't fit into jeans and you rip them all from ankle to butt.
Yeah, but it's, like, kind of like this sexy, like, porn fantasy then. But I don't know, all my weight goes to my tummy, so I'm super insecure about my tummy. I'm really insecure about my chest. I wish it was very small, and it's not. I could go on.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, I didn't want to sit there and, like, there's so many things. Like, if we're gonna list, like, my
we're listing.
Biggest insecurity is my arms, and that will constantly be something. My arms are something I am always trying to hide. I'm always editing out of a photo. I cannot, no matter what I do, no matter how many weights I lift, no matter how much I don't really, again, try that hard. I haven't been trying that hard lately, but
very tan, though.
Thank you. I can't lose weight in my arms. It's something that's really bothered me, and I went on a little moment. I had a moment of, like, emailing a bunch of doctors for liposuction, and then I kind of got paranoid about the recovery time, because it's quite an ordeal But my arms and my little armpit fat balls, that makes me so upset, and I do everything in my power to hide it. And that's the thing, in terms of like working towards accepting them, it's like there's just certain things I won't wear to that like there's pieces that will accentuate the things I hate about myself. So like I hate my arms, and when I'm dressing for the summer or dressing for events or nights out, then I just wear something that covers my arms, because I know that if I see a photo of me with my arms, it's gonna make me upset. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wear like an off the shoulder top that kind of hides that piece. I'm gonna wear long sleeves, just things that make me feel good, and I'm not just sitting there constantly focusing on the stuff that I hate. It's like I am dressing to how I feel and how I'll feel best in my own skin, without having to do these drastic measures to change my body. It's like work with them.
I also think I did something recently where I bought clothes that fit me, and it sounds silly, but I was
shopped without me.
Yeah, you were gone for a fucking month.
I waited a month. That's fine.
No, you didn't.
We're fine. I'm fine.
But so I was really scared to do this, because it was almost like I didn't want to. I just kept. This is gonna sound fucking crazy. I just kept buying clothes in the size that I used to be, because I was like, and I would go to the front and I'd be like, I'm planning on losing weight. But like, I kept buying clothes in the size that didn't fit me, because I didn't want to like have to admit that I had gone up sizes essentially. And I bought a pair of jeans. I was like, I'm just, because I would wear the same jeans and I'd be like, fuck, like I just like feel so insecure. Like I look so much chubbier than I am. And like I feel so like not good in them. It's physically uncomfortable, and like just all these things. And so then I went and bought one pair of jeans that fit me properly, and I was like, oh, I'm dynamite. Like I literally felt so much better. Nothing had changed. I just started dressing to what actually fit me, rather than trying to force myself to be a size that I wasn't anymore. But I felt like I looked so much better. I felt so much more confident. I didn't walk around feeling uncomfortable the whole day, or like I needed to unzip my pants until after I had eaten dinner. But like it was just like I felt better, and it was something so small, but it really helped me to feel. And it's like, just if you feel visually more comfortable and confident because you're wearing something that fits you, mentally you're not going to be sitting there being like, because it's almost like when I was wearing these jeans that were way too small, it's like kind of like this physical constant reminder that I don't look how I want to look.
Yeah.
Whereas like when I'm wearing clothes I'm comfortable in, I'm not thinking about my body, because I'm just comfortable.
And your comment like in this about the actual physical size of the clothing, like you didn't want to admit that you had changed the size, and that's something that I find interesting when people focus on that, because that's something I've never really cared too much about. Like, oh, I'm a 27 and then today I'm a 29 or whatever, because the sizes are so inconsistent. Like if you were to focus on, oh my god, no, I'm always a size 4, like I'm gonna be a size 4, it's like, well, a size 4 in Levi's is not the same size 4 in this pants. Like there are some, oh my god, I bought a pair of Levi's that I was a 24 in, yet the 501 skinny jeans I can't even fit into a freaking size 30. It's so inconsistent. So I feel like in terms of like dressing for your body, like just wear what friggin' fits. Like no one's gonna look at the number. No one's gonna come up to your jeans and like pull it apart, being like, oh my god, you're a size 6. Like,
yeah.
Cut them.
Okay. Sharpie.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's something that I think, because I almost like I wanted to believe I was going to go back down a size if I just tried hard enough. And so it was sort of like accepting defeat. Like I was like, so I'm just like, I'm just letting myself go then. And it's like, it's obviously not that, but like it felt like that to me. Like it felt so, I don't know, I was just so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. And I almost felt too like obviously no one would ever fucking say anything to you like, you've gotten chubby since we last saw you. But like I felt embarrassed, like when people, like, at Aritzia when they're like, oh, like what size do you want in these jeans? I'm like,
with the Aritzia thing, the thing that pisses me off, and it happens every time, if I ask for a different size, I'll be like, oh, can I get a 29 in these? They're like, oh no, like, I'll grab you a 26. And I'm like, I'm not a 26. Thank you. I appreciate you for saying that, but please get me the size. And then they like fight you and they bring me the 26. And many times, like in my underwear, I have walked out with the jeans not going over my thighs, being like, this is your fucking 26. Homie, like,
so confrontational.
I hate that so much. I'm like, just accept that. I know I'm an 8 or whatever. Just let me live my life. There's no, you're not an 8. Oh my god, you're not an 8. I'm like,
the same thing,
I am.
The same thing happened to me at Victoria's Secret recently. I had gone in and I was like, oh, she was like, what cup size are you? And I was like, she asked if I had been measured, and I was like, yes, I've been measured, but like I was buying that cup size, and like it's just not comfortable. Like I feel like my back is like, it's like really tight on my back, and it looks like I'm wearing a bra that's too small, and so like I wanted to go up band sizes. And she was like, let me just measure you again. And then she measured me, and she was like, I'm measuring you at this size. And I was like, I just told you I was uncomfortable in that size.
Yeah.
Like I just said I want to go up a cup size or a band size because I want to go up a cup size. I want to go up a band size because I am uncomfortable. So it's like it's I don't know. It's a weird.
That's a weird thing to be like. It's weird that we're saying we're bothered by that, but it's kind of just someone like, oh no, you don't need to be that big. You don't need to go up a size. It's like, just let me go up a size and be freaking comfortable.
Yeah, because it's like, especially for me, it's like I'm already uncomfortable specifically about my chest, but about my sizing in general. And it was like I was having to argue when I was like, I'm just trying to accept my body.
Yeah,
like,
just give me a bigger size. Don't argue with me.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I wanted to know. Is there anything? I had this question. So I feel like there's insecurities that have come about because of Instagram. I'm wondering if there's anything that maybe you were insecure about before that you aren't now, or alternatively anything that like you didn't really think that highly of yourself that you feel more confident about now since being on social media. Everyone points out my armpits.
Your armpits?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
They say they're nice. Because they're like, I guess, I don't know, I guess that they don't have like much color to them and stuff.
They do
and
have nice. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
People point it out all the time. Everyone's like, wow, you have such nice armpits.
I'm so sorry. Do you show your armpits often? Is this
I do this
something
a lot.
missed?
I do this a lot. And I don't know, I guess I just have a lot of like armpit exposure happening, and people are like, nice armpits. And I'm like, thanks. Not that that's something I'm confident in, but like, it's just something
Armpit model over here.
People
next
start
career.
pointing out.
There's your next career. Post YouTube.
Like a Gillette commercial or like a Venus razor commercial. I'm like, it's me.
Okay, there's a lot of you guys asked about motivation to work out and working out consistently, and how do you motivate yourself to work out?
Can I say?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's my story. I have a really hard time with working out because I'm not naturally athletic.
Yeah.
I was not in sports growing up. I was in guitar lessons and dance. Dance is athletic, but not like, I was not passionate. Like I was like, I dance because like I need an after school activity. And I was never like into soccer. I never found it fun. I was like always bad in PE, like just shit like that. And so I find it really difficult because a lot of the times when I'm watching fitness videos, people are like, oh, like, you know, like I grew up doing sports, I was super active, and then like I had a heart breakup, and like I had a year where like I really fell off the wagon. And they're like talking about how they had 1 year where they were like eating chips consistently, and I was like, oh, I've had 25 years of that. But like I was never active, so it's hard for me to just naturally segue back into that. And I think that the biggest thing for me was that every time I got going, I would be like, ugh, I've been working out for 2 weeks, I'm not seeing changes.
Yeah.
My goal body is so far away, blah, blah, blah. Getting an Apple Watch, not a sponsor, really helped.
Yeah.
Because I found, so like on your Apple Watch, it says every day you get these rings, and there's one ring for standing, which I don't give a fuck about. There's one for calories, and then there's one for how many exercise minutes you've been doing, where like your heart rate has to be above a certain level, or you have to like put it in as an actual activity when you're, anyways. So it's like this daily goal, and I started fixating on that daily goal rather than my long-term goals, and it really helped me because I was like, okay, like I met my daily calorie goal, I met my daily exercise goal, and it would actually be something where like if I was close to beating my goal, even if I had already gone to the gym, I'd be like, I'm just gonna go on a quick walk.
Yeah.
And like I was getting more active and doing these things because I wanted to hit this short-term goal rather than focus on that long-term one, and that helped me so much with motivation. And I still feel like when I go to the gym without my watch, I'm like, well, what a waste.
I am not logging this.
Yeah, like it literally feels useless. Like I'm like, well, if it's not in fucking writing on my Apple Watch, then it was all for nothing.
I think with working out, I really hate it. I hate that I have to be active all the time, and that was something that was a big switch for me because the same thing, like I used to go to the gym a couple times. I got really lazy in university, especially like freshman 30 was real. I didn't work out. I sat on my butt because I did play sports like all of high school. You know, I had a constant coach.
One of those.
No, but it was like
it's one of those.
But you have something that you're working towards. Like you have a coach who's yelling at you like, I wouldn't run on myself, but if I had to go to practice and everyone's running and this coach is yelling at me to run, like I would go run. But
stop talking about
yeah, like I cried a couple times. My stepmom was my coach in grade 10 and I cried many a time. It was brutal. But when I got to university and I had to be self-motivated, I was not. I did not. And you know, you become so lazy, and I needed to make a change. And I think the biggest thing that I realized was I used to think that if I went to the gym a couple of times, I'd be like, I'm fit, I can be done now, I don't have to do this. And you know, I had that depressing realization that it's like, it's a lifestyle change, it's something you always have to do. You can't just work out a bunch for a month and then suddenly be done and you have to work out again. It's a forever thing. So I tried my best to find a way of working out or something that I enjoyed. Like I will not, that's a lie, I do sometimes, but I won't do a good workout by myself. I know that I can't work out myself. Like I can't go to the gym and I can't do the same workout that I will if I go to a class. Classes for me was like my answer because
for me too with bar.
Yeah, like someone's telling me what to do. I'm kind of in a room competing against other people. Like I know if I slack off and if I lay on the floor, someone's gonna be watching me. So it's kind of just a pressure for me to keep going, and that's what I need. I need a class atmosphere for me to be fit. And just having something like Equinox where I'm booking the classes, like, you know, you're penalized if you don't show up to the class. You get strikes, like I have to go, or you know, like finding a friend that you can go to the gym with and you're both supporting each other, and you know, you're going to be doing that together. Like that's the motivation I need. I can't be self-motivated. So
I actually feel like with me, because the reason I didn't want to do classes for so long was because I felt like the pressure would be on, like people would be staring at me and stuff. And I guess I feel that a little bit, but like I more so feel like the pressure is off, because I tried with a personal trainer and I hated that the personal trainer was sitting there watching me specifically, being like, come on, you can do 5 more, because I was like, I can't do 5 more, please stop yelling at me. I hated them sitting there watching at me, yelling at me, telling me what to do, because I was just like, stop telling me what to do, like I don't want to
sit here.
And I actually preferred classes because I felt like people were just, everyone's just doing it and everyone's going at their own pace and everyone's doing whatever kind of thing, and like I'm just part of the mix.
And they're generally just so positive too.
Oh, my bar teacher makes me cry. She like, at the end, she like, we always do these like little, like you take like 3 deep breaths and we do our stretching with the lights off and stuff like that, and she plays this like soft music, and so there's like someone like whispering a song in the background, and then she's like, let's just take a moment to be grateful for our bodies and like exhale that which we no longer need, and like just really be like so proud of the amazing job we did here today. And every time I tear up, I'm like, Susan, she's so cool.
Susan, sweet Susan.
Oh, she's the bomb.
So I think just getting motivated, I don't know how to get motivated because I'm the laziest piece of schmack, but just find something that you enjoy.
Oh yeah, like I don't think working out has to be, if you don't fucking like going to the gym,
then don't go to the gym.
Don't go to the gym. Go on a hike with your dogs or someone else's dogs if you don't have one.
And I think also you don't necessarily have to become this fitness god. Like I think another thing that I realized is these people who you're seeing on Instagram and all these like fitness gurus, it's like they're spending like 5 hours a day
and it's
in
their
the gym.
Job. Like
that's what they do.
Yeah.
So I can't compare myself to this person who's at the gym 5 hours a day. Of course they have a friggin' 8-pack. Like I'm not gonna have an 8-pack because I'm not working towards that. All I want is to be healthy and be able to move my body, and you know, I'd ideally like to do the splits, but that's probably not gonna happen.
Well, and like what's realistic for you? You know what I mean? Because like even if you have goals that are maybe unrealistic because you're looking at someone who's able to be in the gym for hours and hours and all that kind of shit, what's realistic for you? What do you actually enjoy? Because like you don't want it to be something where, like, if you despise going to the gym so much, you're not going to feel any better.
Don't force yourself to do it.
You know, like you're going to go from being depressed about your body to depressed about the fact that you're at the gym and you're not good enough at working out, you don't know what to do, and you're embarrassed and you don't want people to look at you and blah, blah, like, and it's not to say that you can't overcome that, because I'm not saying you should never do anything you're scared of. It's just more so that like don't force yourself into something if it isn't working for you. You can go try yoga, try a bar class, try hiking, try going on like a trail, try going biking, like try all these other different things that you can do without forcing yourself into something that you're clearly not enjoying. The motivation will come naturally if you're doing something that you like more.
And when you start to see results, when you start to feel better, like you're gonna want to do more. And that's, I feel like, just a natural flow. Like the more I'm working out, the more I go to the gym, the more I do these classes, the more I'm like, oh my god, I'm seeing results finally. It might be months later, whatever, but it's like, oh, I want more. Like this is fun, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying seeing the change in my body. I'm enjoying seeing the change in how I feel. And I think that that's motivation in itself. It's like, you know, if I'm sitting there working out, like I want to be in front of the mirror, I want to see my body moving, and like I want to see the improvement that my body's making. And yeah, I can say I'm talking about being comfortable with a bigger chest.
I'm not. It's funny because I feel like a lot of people like perceive boobs as being feminine, and I feel like they don't make me feel feminine at all.
Really? I feel like they could make people feel more sexualized in a way.
Yeah, but like to me it's not like a good feeling. Like I don't feel like feminine, and like I feel feminine when I feel classy and
Yeah.
put together. Like that's what makes me feel feminine. When I have like a low cut top, and I used to like wearing low cut tops, but now when I have a low cut top, I feel like I look trashy. I feel like people are gonna think less of me. I feel like people are gonna be like, oh, she's wearing a really low cut top. Whereas like someone with a smaller chest can wear like a super low cut top, and it's like a non-issue.
Well, that's, you know, my friend Julia, you guys might remember Julia. Remember Julia? She was my roommate and friend from Calgary, and she has like size F boobs. They're absolutely giant, and that was something that she always used to get upset about, and we would kind of be bewildered about, because we'd be getting ready to go out, and all these people, like, you know, she'd wear a normal size top for her boob size, and she'd have cleavage out, and people would be like, oh my god, like, put your boobs away, Julia, like, so much of your cleavage is showing. And I'd be sitting there literally wearing like nipple covers, and no one would say a damn thing.
Yeah.
Because and it's just that sad thing where it's like, it's boobs, man. Like, people just make such a big deal
Yeah.
and over sexualize boobs and make you feel badly for having your boobs on show. And it's like, well, what do you want me to do? It's not like I wanted these boobs. I didn't get this boob job for these double D hoochies.
Well,
it's like, this is your...
I also think there's a difference between, it's weird because it almost feels like fake boobs are, and this is just my opinion, but like I feel like fake boobs are almost more accepted than naturally large breasts.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's something that almost feels more, I don't know, it seems like people take it as something that's more intimate in a way, like
Yeah.
when they're naturally large. I feel like, because I just feel like the reaction to people with
When they're fake, people are like, oh my god, touch my boob, it's fake, you can't even tell.
well, and
Look
I
at
feel
it.
like people are like, oh wow, like oh my god, they look great, blah blah blah. Like, you know, it's like still a center of conversation, but it's, I think that for some reason it's kind of taken in a little bit of a different way. That's just how I've perceived it, because I feel like a lot of the times, like, people's reaction when they think people's boobs are fake or when they are fake is like positive for the most part, but when people have naturally large boobs,
The
it
first
seems-
question is, are you getting a reduction?
yeah, and it seems like people are
Do they hurt your
more
back?
like, oh, like, I didn't follow you for this, like, you know, you just like are showing, and I'm like, I'm not showing anything more than anyone else is showing. It's just like, this is how my body naturally looks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can I eat this rice?
Yes, it's there for you.
I also find it's interesting that you before that you said that you feel most confident or whatever when you're feeling, or sorry, you said you feel most feminine when you're feeling classy
Yeah.
and whatnot. And I also find that interesting that, like, you always make comments to me about having fashion tits and smaller boobs and like how I wear these loose blouses and whatever. And it's like, I find it sad that someone would see me perhaps in a loose shirt or a low cut top and be like, oh my god, what a classy woman.
Yeah.
And then see you and be like,
How trashy.
how trashy. Like, that's
Yeah.
such a horrible thing. It's like,
It is unfair because, I mean, the thing is, like,
you're showing just as much skin. There's
Well,
just
and
as much surface area
and,
showing.
and a lot of the times you're actually showing less. But
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
nothing that I can do. In a turtleneck will look provocative on me because I'm going to look like this like sexy teacher. You know, it's like I cannot hide them. I can't run away from them. I can't do anything to make them look smaller. Like, I really can't. Like, they're not something that I can like dress up or play down. I have them all the time. There's no way around it. They always look as big as they are, and like, it's just, I don't know, I think it's something that for me, I feel so much less feminine for it. I feel like I look bigger than I am because of it, and I feel like I'm unnecessarily sexualized. I feel like I'm unnecessarily made out to be something I'm not because of something I cannot control. And I didn't choose, you know what I mean? Because I don't know if I would feel differently if I had had a boob job or whatever, but like, I feel frustrated that it's like, this is something that I cannot physically change about myself, and yet it's talked about in a way that you wouldn't talk about my other body parts.
Yeah.
You wouldn't make comments about my stomach the way that you make about my breasts. And so it's, I don't know, it's something that's, for some reason, it seems to fall outside the line of like every other thing, like that would normally not be appropriate for people to talk about, but people talk about it so much more.
Yeah. I think it's sad. I think it's sad that you feel, or like people in general with larger boobs, natural boobs, feel like they have to hide their chest because, you know, they're being showy and trashy, and I think that's just very wrong. And that's a...
And even, like, I remember, like when I was going to meet, like, boyfriends' families and stuff like that, they'd be like, oh, well, can you, like... And I'm like, but I'm not... Again, like, I'm not wearing something that's inappropriate, you know what I mean? I'm wearing something I would wear to work, or I would wear out with friends, or I would wear...
Just have bigger boobs, you're gonna see more cleavage.
And there's nothing... And again, it's like, why do I have to dress differently than someone with a smaller chest would? Because I have a larger chest, because I'm not being any more inappropriate.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Like,
and if it's that whole, it's kind of that whole thing of like, you know, protecting yourself from men. Like, oh my God, like, don't show yourself if you don't want that kind of attention. And it's like, well, friggin' deal with it, man. Like, boobs are boobs. Like, just it's a part of the body. I know that this is a very large thing in our social world, but it's just, I think it's something so wrong to be sitting there. That's what I love about Europe.
I know.
Everyone has their tits out.
But the thing too I was gonna say is that like that's what was interesting in Vietnam was I felt like Vietnam was fucking hot.
Oh my God, the guys!
Yeah. Vietnam was fucking hot and it was humid and like it's summer, so like we're wearing summer attire, and I found it really interesting because I felt like, you know, you and I were dressed quite similarly the whole time, but I felt like women were giving me like the dirtiest looks, and guys were like catcalling me. Like one guy stopped with his son, like his young son, stopped and like this
moved his head as she walked by
and like stared at my chest, and I was like, what the fuck? And then some guy was like, boobs, like just yelled boobs
as if they'd never seen a boob in their life, like all of the men on the street. That was really wild.
But it's like I wasn't wearing anything, like I wasn't dressed as a blogger, I was dressed like summer.
You were wearing a tank top.
Yeah,
like you were wearing a yellow tank top. I was wearing
what I would wear.
Yeah.
And I just found it really interesting seeing the difference in how people would respond to us on the street kind of thing, because I was just like, we're basically wearing the same shit.
But no one would look twice at me because I look like a boy.
It's not true. But it's like I'm being treated so differently and I'm being perceived so differently.
Yeah.
Because of something I cannot control and because I'm dressing to the weather. Like I shouldn't have to be wearing a long sleeve.
Do you know the amount of boob sweat you get? You have to do a stick of deodorant to cover it. Oh my Lord. But, and you know, it's interesting, I love that about Europe, is when you go there, like, me too. I was topless the whole time. People won't bat an eye, they don't look twice at your nipples. And I'm like, thank you for just accepting this as a body part and just being a normal part of everyday life. Like, you know, little boys are growing up seeing this, and they're not over-sexualizing it. So if you have cleavage, it's not like, oh my God, look at her cleavage.
I thought this was interesting too. I had talked about this recently when I was in Cannes. I'm so proud of you. When I was in France, we had gone to this film festival and like we had to wear gowns, and I didn't fucking know that, so I didn't bring a gown, and so I had to buy one there, and I bought this like, it was like black and it was very plunging neckline, like it came like below my boobs and my boobs were out, like it was very revealing kind of thing, and it was very classy, like it was a very pretty dress I thought, but like it was interesting to me the way that I felt about my body there, because I really felt like people were like stopping and taking pictures with me and stuff like that, but I felt embraced, because like women and men and kids were all like, wow, like amazing, like beautiful dress, beautiful, like it was, and I didn't feel sexualized, I felt like really embraced, and like people were just like, oh, this is so beautiful, this is so great, whatever kind of thing, and it was such a different feeling, even though people were staring at the same part and making a big deal over the same part of my body as in Vietnam. I felt embraced versus sexualized. And made to feel like because as soon as someone sexualizes me because of my breasts specifically, I'm like, oh, they think I'm stupid, they think this, like I feel like they're making all of these assumptions about me, versus like when I feel embraced, I feel like sexy and feminine and like beautiful and almost like maternal in a way, like I'm like, yes, I'm like a woman, you know, and it's just such a weird, different, it's weird how much other people can make you feel about yourself.
And do you think that, just because there were a lot of questions about your boobs, do you think that growing up, like you have had to try harder to separate yourself from that sexualization? Do you think that you're almost like, no, I need to be smarter, I need to like, you know, exercise my brain more, I need to prove to them that I'm smarter because I don't want them just looking at my boobs? Like I feel like you would have had to fight,
like overcompensate
to overcome that image that people are projecting onto you, or
it's interesting because like it's not something that I view as an insecurity, but maybe it was, because I did feel like a lot of people had kind of like perceived notions about me without knowing me, and like a lot of people, especially in high school, would kind of make comments like that. Basically, like, I was just some, like, dumb hoe because, like, I had these big boobs or whatever. Like, people, like, would make kind of comments like that about me. And I feel like I didn't really pay it that mind, but then, that much mind, but maybe I did, because I feel like it's really important to me to sound educated. It's really important to me to be educated. And I hate people taking me for less than I am. Because I'm like, no, I'm more than how I look. I'm more than what my body is naturally. Like, I'm so much more complex than that. I'm so much more of a person, and like, I think that's why it's really important to me to understand the people around me on a deeper level, which is why I ask you so many questions about your childhood. It's really important to me to understand people on a deeper level, and also have them understand me on a deeper level, because I think that it's sort of like I wanted to subtract my mental and emotional self from my physical self. Like, I wanted to be a whole person aside from my body, and I wanted people to know me for all that I am, rather than just this one small part of me, essentially. So I guess, yeah, it was kind of like a weird, like, insecurity in like a roundabout way.
Yeah, you've done great.
Thanks.
Well, I hope that in a general sense this answered some of your guys' questions. We kind of just went on a ramble.
Questions and beyond. People are gonna be like, I didn't care that much.
To those of you who did ask your questions, thank you so much for helping us guide this conversation. I hope that this was helpful for you to, you know, just having a general conversation on body image and confidence. I think it's something that we're all affected by, and at the end of the day, there's no right answer as to how to be more confident and you know, in yourself and your body. And I just think, as a good wrap up, I know for me, it's like, how do I feel? I just want to feel good. I want to feel healthy, and I also want to eat chips, and you know, whatever.
Balance.
Balance
balance
is the essence of beauty. Wow. Okay. Don't write that down. Any final comments?
Oh, my final comment is I agree. No, I agree. I think there is no answer. Like, I think that it's, even if I told you this is the way that I did it, which I haven't done it, but like, if I was to tell you that, you could be like, okay, cool, and you could try and implement that, and it wouldn't necessarily make things right for you. I think it really does come down to focusing on the bigger picture, focusing on more than just this one goal that you have, but trying to make it about something more than that, or something deeper than that. And I think also focusing on yourself, not necessarily your body, because I really do feel like it's really, really important, and we don't take enough time focusing on who we are, how we treat people, how we behave, correcting past behavior, and ignorances and different stuff like that. Like, I think that that stuff is so much more important and so much more valuable long term, and ultimately it will lead you to feeling more confident about you rather than just your body. And if you have a stronger mentality, a lot of the times you feel better about things that, you know, aren't even affected by, like, you start feeling better about your body because you have a strong.
And at the end of the day, the comparisons are never going to go away. We're gonna have sat here for a couple of hours talking about this, and I'm still gonna go on Instagram and be like, damn,
You know, last bum.
Yeah, great bum, great abs, damn it, clean.
Yeah.
You know, and that's never gonna go away. I think the important part is, yeah, just working on the mental stability and how you feel about yourself and the type of person that you are in the world. And yeah, okay, there you go. Well, that's great. Sam, thank you so much for bringing your wisdom into the world of my channel.
Hey, thank you.
I hope that we meet again soon.
So
If there are any other topics of conversation that you would like to have Sam bestow her wisdom upon for us, then please do let us know.
I'm going to take over the series.
I am going to change it to Life with Sam. Let's film a couple more
You can see me every Tuesday. I will be here on Alana's channel.
That was great.
Cool.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody.
Okay.
Go watch Sam and subscribe to her and listen to her speak because she's very smart and wise. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
I liked this one that you did. It was nice. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Yep. All right.